Hey guys, this is just a little video tutorial on how to do a 0-point calibration on a Toyota or Lexus using the OBD-II jumper method. I'm doing this specifically because I just installed a new switch to convert from downhill assist to crawl control, but I think there might be other reasons why you'd want to do this. There's also another way to do the calibration using the TechStream software, but I was having trouble with that, so I tried this method and it worked pretty well. After installing the switch, which I'm not going to get into, you need to make a little jumper wire for this process. The jumper wire is just a way for you to jump two of the OBD-II pins in quick pulses after you turn on the ignition, which is how the ECU knows how to clear out the old calibration data. I made my jumper wire out of an old DC power cable that I had lying around, but you could probably use speaker wire or any other kind of wire pair. The only thing is that it needs to be pretty narrow gauge so that you can put it into the OBD-II terminals. This wire was 22 gauge, which worked out perfectly. So for making the pulses, since I didn't have a momentary switch, I just used a little switch that I had lying around. It doesn't need to be anything special. I didn't even bother to solder it. I just poked the wires through and wrapped them around the terminals. And then the other end just needs to be stripped, and this is what you're going to put into the OBD-II port. Okay, so after you make the jumper wire, first thing you need to do is park the car somewhere flat and level with the wheels pointing straight ahead and the steering wheel centered, and put it in park. Also, at the end of the process, you're supposed to drive the car on a straightaway at least 25 miles an hour for 10 seconds. So it helps to do this where you're going to have that space. If you live in a big city, you might want to go somewhere nice and flat and empty. Alright, in order to start the process, you put the two exposed wire ends into the OBD-II terminals 4 and 12, which are actually the last ones to actually have any terminals in them. So that would be this one and this one. Just like that. Okay, now that we've connected the jumper switch to the OBD-II connector, we want to make sure the switch is in the open position, meaning it's not connecting the two wires, and then we can turn on the vehicle accessories. And in the Lexus, that means 2 button pushes. It's going to be hard for me to do since I'm holding a camera, but here we go. Alright, so push the vehicle accessory or the ignition button twice, and then wait for the startup to come on, and then we want to pulse this 4 times. What you'll want to see is the ABS light flashing back and forth, and then the slip sensor light comes back on, and then it starts repeating the same pattern over and over again. So you got the anti-slip sensor going once, and then flashing once, and then a pause, and then flashing 3 times. That means you're good. Alright, so now the calibration data should be cleared. You can turn off the accessories. And so now we can set the new calibration data. So in order to do that, we want to close. I'm going to turn off the beeping, close the door. Alright, so in order to set the new calibration data, we want to have the switch in the closed position, and we can just leave it there. And we can turn on the accessories, 2 button pushes, and what you should see is those lights start blinking like crazy. And once it kind of stabilizes and starts flashing the same pattern over and over again, it means that the regular sensor data, the yaw, acceleration, and steering angle sensors have finished. So the only thing you need to do now is to push the on-off button on the crawl control in order to have it detect crawl control. So if I'm going to do that, and when you push the button, you should see it actually light up there. Alright, so now you should be done with setting the new calibration data. You can turn it off. And that's it. The only thing left to do is to drive it on a straightaway for 10 seconds at least 25 miles an hour, and then you should be good to go. Hope this helps.